There was a big Pierre Poilievre rally this week in Alberta, where a gentleman wearing a Make Canada Great Again hat was kicked out of the event.
It's kind of sad, don't you think, that I get thrown out because I'm wearing a Make Canada Great hat again?
Are you leaving?
I have to. They won't let me in with my hat, and they said I got to take it off. I said, you go screw yourselves. They don't want to let me in because they're getting all woke. And you know what? That's not why I came here today. I came here to try to get our country back, not for them buying into this woke bullshit.
We'll be watching the rest of that clip tonight and breaking down exactly what's going on here. If you've been paying attention, this really shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, because this is the same Conservative Party that gave us the weak Andrew Scheer, the weak Aaron O'Toole, and yes, now the weak Pierre Poilievre. I know we're all afraid of Mark Carney and the threat of another Liberal term, but Canadians need to realize that the Ottawa establishment, including Pierre Poilievre, is still about the woke, still about cancel culture, and gatekeeping out real conservatives and real patriots. If we want to truly turn this country around, we need to continue, yes, even during an election cycle, call out the fake right wing. And it starts right now.
I promise you, I will not let you down.
We have a demographic problem. Our population is too old.
Canada's Conservatives will meet our Paris climate commitment.
For a simple guy from the prairies to stand before you today. Stop the deportations. We need 700 young people. Driving truck.
Anyone from anywhere can do anything.
And we will bring a direct flight to Amritsar.
Ours is a nationalism not based on bloodlines, birthplace, or background. Why weren't Canadians vaccinated in January and February like everyone else?
Welcome, everybody, to Controlled Opposition, episode 36. Oh, my gosh. It's been a while. I missed that intro. How about you guys? I thought I had to do a Controlled Opposition episode with the news of someone getting kicked out of a Pierre Poilievre rally for wearing a red hat that says "Make America or Canada Great Again." I mean, it's so poetic. If you've seen the show before, if you've seen my stream before, then you're probably very familiar with me criticizing the Conservative Party of Canada. And I thought, we're in the middle of this election cycle, this election campaign. It's coming up just around the corner. And a lot of people have lost their minds. They've lost their minds. They've totally deluded themselves. They're afraid of Carney. They're not thinking straight. So they're like, yes, we need to vote for Poilievre. And they've forgotten the past 5 years, apparently. And they're forgetting all of these small details. And in this episode, we are here to remind you that the Conservative Party of Canada is not our friends. And we need to push back. We need to push and call out the fake conservatives now. Not later. Now. Now is a great time to do that. Because as it looks, I don't even know if they're going to win this election. They might lose again. Oh my God, they were cowardly. And it's going to lead to another loss. But we're going to react to a couple clips, of course, of people getting kicked out of Pierre Poilievre rallies. There's another one where a popular streamer, Shadow Davis, was also kicked out of a campaign event. And so they're not really that different from the Liberals in terms of canceling people and throwing them out of their events and wanting to control speech. But I'll be live reacting to a lot of the newest stuff from Pierre Poilievre that I haven't actually watched yet. I'm hoping that there's going to be some inspiring stuff, some good propaganda. Hopefully he's pushing it further to the right. But, based on the past 3 years, I started the show in 2023 of calling out the Conservative Party for not being right-wing enough. So I've been documenting their weakness this entire time. If you want to check it out, just watch another one on the playlist of Controlled Opposition, and you can see it there. Nothing has really changed. Nothing has really changed whatsoever. But let's get into it. Let's watch this whole clip here. I saw Maxime Bernier posted this. A man was kicked out of Pierre's rally for wearing a Make Canada Great Again hat. Why waste your vote on another woke party? Good question.
Hey, axe the tax!
Axe the tax!
Right.
I mean, right away. right away. Axe the tax. Is axing the tax really the most exciting thing about this election? Axing the tax? Based on everything that has gone on over the past 5 years, axing the tax. And of course, as we all know, Mark Carney has sort of stolen the show or stolen that talking point, and also delivered by lowering gas prices and getting rid of the carbon tax already. So, you know, and this is kind of what I'm going to talk about a lot tonight, which is a lot of the Conservative Party supporters are in an echo chamber. Okay, they're in an echo chamber, and they don't realize like how out of touch Pierre Poilievre's campaign is with the rest of Canada. You know, supposedly Pierre Poilievre is doing all of this work to appeal to the average Canadian, and it's not working. You know, Mark Carney is eating his lunch, and it's really kind of ugly to watch. You know, and if people will probably say, "Hey, you're just a PPC shill," all this stuff. I would love Pierre Poilievre to win and be strong and be a real conservative, but it doesn't look like that is in the cards based on his weak campaigning. And it sucks because, and this is why it just totally upsets me and saddens me, is when we see Canadians showing up to save the country, and all they can really muster is axe the tax. Yeah, tax for like, this is rough. And to be fair, you know, people are burdened by the cost of living, but it just goes to show how the Conservative Party of Canada is not our friend. For the past 3 years, they've been saying axe the tax, Trudeau sucks. Nothing about mass immigration. Nothing about the authoritarianism that we've seen from the Liberal government, which continues on today, and it's now infiltrated all of our institutions. They're all far left. There are people who will lose your job. If you voice a conservative viewpoint, you will lose your job in this country. This is something that Pierre Poilievre has decisively chosen not to talk about over the past 5 years. And it's like, is he actually fighting for us? No, not really. He's just fighting for his turn at the trough. But it's sad to see, you know, and like you'll see people tweet about, look how many people were at the Pierre Poilievre rally. Isn't that great? Well, they're all shouting about axe the tax. And again, they've been outsmarted, outmaneuvered by the Liberals with Carney. So that doesn't excite me, because we have a bunch of people who think Poilievre is the greatest thing since sliced bread, but really he is weak. He's proven to be weak. His strategy to be a coward has proven to not work over the past, well, since Carney has reinvented the Liberal Party, but yet they're still shouting axe the tax. Yeah. And like with the leadership of the Conservative Party, this feels like 10 steps backwards in terms of how anti-establishment conservatives and right-wingers were after the trucker convoy 3 years ago. And now they're just satisfied with saying axe the tax and supporting Pierre Poilievre. And of course, the biggest atrocity is that we're not talking about stopping mass immigration. You know, Poilievre will say, stop crime. Okay. That's not really brave at all to say stop crime. Crime is bad. Wow. Crime is bad. Congratulations, Poilievre. Incredible. Crime is bad. God, somebody get this guy a medal of bravery for saying crime is bad and we're going to stop the crime. Obviously, you're not going to get in trouble for saying stop the crime. You will get in trouble for saying we need to stop immigration. For saying actually there's a problem here. There's a cultural mismanagement here of multiculturalism. We need to stop mass immigration immediately and reassert what being a Canadian is and what Canadian culture is, because too many people from the third world has flooded in here. Do I need to go over the graphic examples of this? They were in the introduction, where we have people who have never lived in a cold climate driving truck and not being aware of what the winter roads look like. Like there's so many examples. And this is the thing for people who think this is misguided. You know, it has been such a missed opportunity for Pierre Poilievre and this Conservative Party over the past 3 years. You had the authoritarianism at the trucker convoy. You have all this weird transgenderism that nobody likes. You have the mass immigration that nobody likes. Majority of the country wants less immigrants. This is the moment. This is the moment to change the conversation away from Justin Trudeau's, the Liberal Party's fake morality, and he simply has not done that. He's done the weakest possible job to try and change the conversation. And I just feel so vindicated. I feel like people who think like us, the Diagolon sphere has been totally vindicated on this. They've been totally vindicated. They've been ahead of the curve on the rhetoric. And I made a tweet a couple of years ago that said, hey, if Mark Carney shows up and rebrands the Liberal Party, Pierre Poilievre is going to turn flaccid overnight. He's going to become irrelevant overnight. And the polls dictate that that is the case. Anyway, I haven't streamed in a while. So that's why I'm just ranting and going off. Let's get into this clip here.
Hey, axe the tax!
Axe the tax!
All right, good to see you.
Good to I love it. I'm happy to be here.
Hey, Flip.
Yes.
How come you don't want to talk about me? It's kind of sad, don't you think, that I get thrown out because I'm wearing a Make Canada Great hat again?
Are you leaving?
I have to. They won't let me in with my hat, and they said I got to take it off. So you go screw yourselves.
But you can wear his shirt that says support.
I love that guy. This guy's great. This guy's solid. Don't know who this is. Hey, if you want to interview, sir, I would love to interview you and your experience. He refused to take off the hat. This is what we need, guys. It's called having a backbone. Hello? Hi? Hello? Ding, ding, ding. It's called having a backbone and sticking to your principles. That is what we are lacking in this country. That is what's needed in this country. That's what we don't have in this country, and especially not coming from the right wing with the Conservative Party of Canada and Pierre Poilievre. It's the exact opposite of that. It's jellyfish spine. It's being submissive and subservient to the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation and Rosemary Barton. Well, we can't say this because of Rosemary Barton. We can't say that because some fat, old, liberal, retarded woman is going to disagree with it. And I'm sorry to be sexist and ableist and all of that stuff, but it's true. Think of the most annoying older liberal woman who's judgy and is, I don't like the sound of that. That is who the Conservative Party of Canada is subservient to. No, we can't associate with Trump. You need to take your hat off. Let's try to save the country when we're living by those standards. Let's try to be a real conservative. Let's try to change anything in the right direction while living within those confinements of not pissing off an older, white, quite frankly, retarded liberal woman. Yeah, that's why it's not going very well. And we need individual men especially, like this, saying, screw yourself. I'm going to keep the hat on. As Kanye West said famously years ago, like, this is my superhero cape or whatever. And guys, just imagine how different it could be. Can you imagine if Poilievre embraced the Trumpisms? It's funny how they were at one point, right? They were saying Maple MAGA at some point. Maple MAGA, yeah, we're just like Maple MAGA, even though Poilievre has nothing to do with Trump. But now with the trade war, everyone's all mixed up, and it's like, no, we can't be real patriots. Sorry, guys, can't capture that spirit of patriotism from America and from Trump. That would not be allowed. Not allowed to do that. We have to do this weird fake patriotism where anyone from anywhere can do anything, and your background, your birthplace, and your bloodline is not important to being Canadian. I really don't get how so many people have just gone along with this with Pierre Poilievre and this cowardly Conservative Party. And like, I get it. It's like the fear of Carney, but it still continues to baffle me. How it's the pocketbook, I guess. Like, I want to save a bit of money for some extra vacations before I die. Therefore, I'm not going to stand by any principles at all. I'm just going to bend over for the older, white, retarded liberal woman. And I'm sorry if this is offensive to older, white, liberal women, but you're kind of the perfect scapegoat to exemplify this point, I think. We need men like this saying, no, I'm going to keep the hat on. Go screw yourself. Let's play that part again.
You go screw yourselves.
But you can wear his shirt that says support him, and you can wear a fuck Trudeau flag. You can do all that, but you can't wear that hat.
Get this, I got a picture in my phone of me and Pierre Poilievre with me wearing my blackface Trudeau sweater and this hat. and standing beside each other, having a great old time at the AgriCom at the last time he was here. And everything was just fucking hanky-dorky. But this time they don't.
This guy is such a Chad. Everything was hanky-dorky. What a chat. Yo, big super chat from Silverman and Buddy. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for the huge donation, sir. He says, continue to expose the hypocrisy of the virtual signaling rhetoric. All the politicians are doing the minimal efforts and the Canadians need better and we deserve it. Absolutely. You know, it's I don't get this whole theory that, you know, everyone's saying, oh, Carney would be the worst. Carney would be like the end of everything, owned by China. As if Poilievre isn't owned by other foreign nations. As if Poilievre also doesn't enforce the censorship of people who he disagrees with. This is one such example. You can't even wear a hat that says Make Canada Great Again. That's the controversial thing? That the red hat looks too much like Trump? How sensitive? How... Like, I don't even know. It actually feels like they're trying to lose at this point. I've had this, you know, conspiracy theory years before when making this show and thinking, in a nutshell, hey guys, maybe the Conservative Party is not pretending to be liberal to pander to the CBC. Maybe they're actually liberal and they're pandering to conservatives to pretend to be conservative so you will support them and then the destruction of the country will continue. Did you ever think about that? Maybe they're not actually pandering to the CBC and trying to blend in. Maybe they're actually part of the CBC. They're part of the Ottawa establishment. All of their roots are in Ottawa for decades and decades of time. They've gone in lockstep with a lot of the horrible criminal things that have happened in Ottawa. So maybe they're actually part of the CBC. They're not actually pandering to the CBC Ottawa bubble. Maybe they're actually part of the CBC Ottawa bubble and they're actually pandering to us. They're pandering to patriots. They're pandering to people who actually want to save this country. And they're giving us a little, just enough breadcrumbs to have you shut the fuck up, sit on the couch and trust PP. Do you ever think maybe you have it backwards? Because I got to say, if you think of it from that perspective, maybe they're actually part of the Ottawa CBC establishment and they're pandering to us, everything starts to make a lot more sense. Because at every single turn, they are snuffing out and eradicating any inkling of real patriotism. They memory hold the Convoy, essentially. Has Pierre Poilievre talked about the Convoy since he capitalized on it to win the leadership back in 2022? No. The answer is no. He rubber stamped. Actually, you know what? Calling the Emergencies Act on a peaceful protest, I'm not really going to push back against it. I'm going to allow it. He maybe tried to make a comment. Guys, like, this is such a disgrace to democracy. And what happened at the Convoy, that bold, flagrant example of authoritarianism on peaceful protesters. But for some reason, no, that's too risky. That actually might have too much to do with real Canadian patriotism and what it actually means to be Canadian and free and standing up to tyrants. Because, World War I, World War II, like the whole lore, the whole mythology of what I learned growing up to be Canadian is to fight for freedoms, fight for people who are disenfranchised, and fighting for the unvaccinated. Yeah, that was kind of like the perfect story there. Oh, no, we're going to call the Emergencies Act on peaceful protesters, and Pierre Poilievre is not really going to say much about it. There are people with upstanding reputations. Forget their reputations. It's Canadian citizens who have been horribly wronged. I'm not going to list them all. I'm going to be talking about it more in future content, of course, to kind of like reinvigorate the political prisoners in this country, people who have been persecuted for their political opinion, starting with the Convoy. But Pierre Poilievre doesn't touch any of them. And the reason is, once again, I apologize to the older white liberal retarded women watching. I know I have a lot of them in my audience. But it's pandering to the retarded CBC watcher in their sensibilities. That's what the Conservative Party keeps doing. That's why we keep losing. Oh, can't talk about this because some insufferable older white liberal woman is going to get upset. Okay. And keep in mind, doesn't Pierre Poilievre want to vilify the Liberal Party? Wouldn't he want to do that in order to win? Wouldn't he want to change the conversation? It's like a perfect silver platter, the Convoy, to try and vilify your opposing party. He did not lean into that at all. And in effect, 3 years later, the true Canadian, like the meaning of real Canadian patriotism at the Trucker Convoy has been memory hold. It's been erased. It's been forgotten, systematically forgotten. And that's why it is so disappointing and disheartening and disgusting, quite frankly, to see how many Convoy people who supported the Convoy, who says what the government did is criminal and unacceptable, how many people who are on that page who know Tamara Litch, Chris Barber, Artur Pawlowski, Jeremy McKenzie, and on, all the different doctors who got their lives destroyed for standing up for doing the right thing. All of these people. And now they're like, yeah, but we're just going to support Pierre, even though he doesn't talk about any of that for some reason. And we're just going to let that slide. We're just going to let that slide. We're just going to let that one little thing slide. It's not a little thing, guys. It's the whole, it's the everything. It's the whole premise of a free democratic society. Anyway, we're going to get into one of those individuals who is now supporting Pierre Poilievre, and he also got kicked out of a Pierre Poilievre event. What do you know? But let's play the rest of this clip because I love this guy.
Comment the last time he was here, and everything was just fucking hanky-dorky.
Hanky-dorky.
This time they don't want to let me in because they're getting all woke. And you know what? That's not why I came here today. I came here to try to get our country back, not for them buying into this woke bullshit.
Well, I respect it.
So I am the hell out of
You're going to take your hat off and join us regardless?
Nope.
No?
Gross. Hey man, just take off the Make Canada Great Again hat, man. Just don't stick by your principles. Just be a coward. Don't, just comply. Remember complying? Hey man, why don't you just wear a mask? Just wear a mask and just get a booster and come to the Pierre Poilievre rally. It's ridiculous. I mean, it'd be different if it said something like, if he had like a swastika on his hat, or like it says like the C word or some obscenity on his hat. Yeah, okay, maybe it would make sense to take the hat off. But it says "Make Canada Great Again." This is totally inexcusable. I don't understand what the excuse is going to be for people who are shilling for the Conservative Party. I didn't like any of the excuses thus far. So far, the best excuse to support Poilievre is how spooky and scary Carney is. And once again, we're left because the other guy is bad. Pierre Poilievre is not doing a whole lot that's getting people truly excited. There's this big fake excitement, this delusional excitement that we'll get into in a minute. But let's get through this first clip.
Not a chance.
But tell me you're not going to vote Liberal now.
I'd rather fight than change.
Don't tell me you're going to vote Liberal, though.
You know what? Everybody in Alberta should vote for Carney, and that way them will just separate. How about that? Huh?
All right.
I think that's the plan if Gardy does win. All right. Have a nice...
Amazing. Hey, maybe we should just have Carney and then we'll get to split off easier. And it's that sort of like, whether you call it a bluff, where maybe you could call it misguided. This guy is fed up. He's passionate. He's saying what's on his mind. He's angry. He's letting his natural emotions and natural masculine response flow. Okay? And that's in opposition to what the white, older, liberal women might have to say who watch CBC. And that's what we need more of. To me, that is for a long time now, that has been the heuristic for me. Is the Conservative Party saying something that's going to get them in trouble, i.e. that's going to upset the CBC in some way? Is it starting to move in that direction at all? If the answer is no, then I don't think they're doing a very good job. They've been dragged kicking and screaming to finally not make make it about a carbon tax election. It took them like 3 years to do that. And it's too late. That's the sad part, right? It's too late to really reinvent and rebrand yourself. You've only been talking about taxes, barely at all about, I mean, it would have been a slam dunk with the transgenderism stuff for kids. That would have been easy, but still too afraid to do that. Why can't Pierre Poilievre just say he's going to repeal Bill C-4? Which is, Bill C-4 essentially makes it illegal to counsel a kid out of chopping their bits off. It's illegal to counsel and encourage a kid to, like, maybe you're not trans. Maybe you actually shouldn't do this. It's illegal to do that in Canada now because of Bill C-4. And Pierre Poilievre and the pussy conservatives are too afraid to make a comment about it. It's absolutely pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. And you know, it's, what kind of message does this send? Let's say Pierre Poilievre does get in. You rewarded cowardice. You said, okay, I want you to lie to me. I want you to tell half-truths. I want you to be very cowardly in the way you dictate yourself. I want you to be subservient to the CBC. This delusion that they're suddenly going to become super based and super aggressive and super conservative is insane. It's totally insane. If anything, the opposite would happen. They'd become even more liberal, even more centrist. And, you know, frig, they might even like just ban people for wearing red hats. Oh, wait, that's already happening. And here's another very saddening example. The Shadow Davis, the Shadow Davis show. Love Shadow Davis. Great guy. He's talked to many of the political prisoners in this country. He's talked about the vaccine and the problems with that. He's hosted many doctors on the show. He's very hip to a lot of this stuff. But he said, hey, you know what? I'm afraid of Carney. And we just gotta vote for Poilievre. That's what we got to do. And I'm going to go out and support him. I don't care if he's lied about this. I don't care if he doesn't talk about the political prisoners. I don't care about any of that. I'm still going to go out. I'm still going to support him because that's what I think the country needs. You know, fair enough. And then this happens when he goes at the event, the Poilievre event rally in Winnipeg. Oh, let's get some sound.
I'm having fun. Feels like a party.
All right, so I think this guy here is the guy who asked me to leave. I have been identified as a known agitator, and I've been asked to leave by the Conservative Party of Canada. Somebody recognized me as an agitator.
You're a free thinker, Shadow. You're a free thinker. You have questioned the Ottawa establishment for years now. You have said, you know what, this is nefarious. You know what, it could be criminal. There should be people potentially thrown in jail for this, for the crimes that they've committed against the Canadian people. You're a free thinker. The Conservative Party does not want that. They do not want that. They do not want free thinkers. They do not want people calling for accountability in Ottawa. You're a known agitator for that reason. So step in line. Become another drone. Take the hat off. Just shut up. And we're going to try to appease the CBC and save the country. This is insane. This is insanity. And the thing is, it's really, really disappointing because people like Shadow have a platform. I'm not going to name others, but there's many out there who, some of them even got popular. Well, you know, I got a huge surge in popularity during the trucker convoy because I was covering it. But there's a lot of right-wing influencers who got a huge surge in popularity during the trucker convoy. Oh my God, look at this authoritarianism. This is disgusting. Is this a free country? Look at what's happened to all of these political prisoners. And now they're supporting Pierre Poilievre, who doesn't say a thing about it. How do these people sleep at night? I honestly do not understand. Because what's saddening is you have a platform. You have a voice. You have a voice. You can actually influence people to be brave. You can have standards, have principles, and say, you know what? I am afraid of Carney. I don't want the Liberals to win again, but Pierre Poilievre is just not doing it for me. It's just not good enough. Why isn't he doing this? Why isn't he doing that? And then focusing your criticism in the right place. When it comes to controlled opposition and like when it comes to like knowing where to focus our attention, I always tell people you should be punching towards Ottawa. punch towards Ottawa. Punch towards the people with power, the people with influence. That's where it makes the most sense to put your criticism, to apply pressure, to steer things in the right direction. Whenever I see people doing the opposite, punching away from Ottawa, like it's crazy how many people hopped on board with shitting on Jeremy Mackenzie. And they they made it so easy to do that. There's all this calling him a Fed. Obviously, there were some clips out there that didn't look great. But the point is like when you make that the focus, of, yes, it's Jeremy Mackenzie who's ruining the country, that's retarded. You're completely looking in the wrong direction. You've been psyoped. You've been tricked. You've been tricked again. Imagine the most outspoken dissident who is calling for the most accountability, calling for the most criticisms of the people in power. That's the person with the biggest mouth criticizing the people the most. That's the biggest problem. Who do you think cooked up that scheme? Probably the people in power. Duh. And the same thing happens, of course, with the PPC. They say, look at the PPC. The PPC is the biggest problem. The PPC is the biggest problem here. The only people who are constantly vocal about mass immigration, the only group of people who are professional and constantly vocal about globalism, about the transgenderism in schools, about the authoritarianism and the political prisoners during the trucker convoy. The only people who are speaking up about that are the problem? Pardon me? People's brains have been scrambled. I don't know what's happened, but everyone has lost their minds, and it's this misplaced anger and frustration, and now it's being targeted towards the PPC. I do understand where it's coming from in a sense, because it's easy. It's easy to punch away from Ottawa. It's easy to shit on PPC or Jeremy Mackenzie or whoever else. You know why? Do you know why it's easy, guys? Do you want to know why it's easy? Because there's no consequences to do that. There is no consequences whatsoever to shit on the PPC or to the further right diagonal on Jeremy Mackenzie. In fact, it's popular. It's actually popular to do that. You get social praise for doing that, for disavowing the thing that's further right. No, don't pay attention to that. Hey guys, look how great I am for doing that. There's absolutely no risk and absolutely no consequences taking that stance. And that's why I think so many people have taken that stance. They want to feel like they're doing something. They want to feel like they're accomplishing something. And oh my God, it doesn't involve any risk at all. Wow. Because what's the flip side of that? What's the flip side? What does involve risk? What does involve danger? It says, this whole popular conservative party and Pierre Poilievre, he actually sucks. He's actually a coward. I know he's very popular. I know he's like the most suited to win, but we have some major problems right now. Most notably, he's not opposing mass immigration, something that majority of the country supports. And he's pushing the same post-nationalism as Justin Trudeau, by the way. He's dressing up. Mr. Dress Up. Remember Mr. Dress Up? Pierre Poilievre is dressing up more than the Liberals right now, pandering more to people who got here, people who just got here, and saying that it doesn't matter if you're Pierre or Patel, Martin or Mohammed. This is like he basically just took the lines from Trudeau and started spouting them himself. This is such a grave, troubling problem. And no one wants to talk about it because it's uncomfortable, because it might be rude, because once again, theme of the night, the older, insufferable, liberal white woman might get upset. Oh my God. You know, we do live in a fascist dictatorship in Canada, and it's run by insufferable older white women who watch CBC. That's why this place sucks. Because everyone's decided we need to appease these people. We need to appease these insufferable, overweight, white liberal women who watch CBC. That's why it's like this. Don't be afraid. Stop being afraid. It's very, very disgusting. I just feel like there's so much there though, where it's like it's hard to do that. It's hard to push against the grain. It's hard to upset people. But that's exactly what needs to happen. Like that is the heuristic. If there is no like conflict, if there is no confrontation, then Nothing is happening. Nothing is changing at all. And this is related to what I'm working on with this documentary, The Hate Network, which is everyone's saying that we're going to end the woke. We saw this guy with the MAGA hat get kicked out. That's clearly not happening, even if Poilievre does get in. And here's the thing. People are getting fired from their jobs. People are getting socially ostracized. There's so many examples. And why? Because of their opinion. It's not even a vile opinion. It's literally the most basic bitch conservative opinion. Having a basic social conservative opinion will have you lose your job in this country. So although we feel like we've defeated Trudeau and defeated the woke, actually all of our institutions are pretty damn woke now. Education system, multiple levels of bureaucracy. Everyone's got the pronouns and bio in the corporate world. Yeah, mission successful. Everything is woke now. It's all woke. And voting in Poilievre is not going to change anything, especially because he believes in this fascist fat chick dictatorship of this insufferable older liberal white woman who watches CBC. We're all just going to be obeying her now, and all of this bullshit progressive politics that we're saying we got rid of, but we're also subservient to. Isn't that weird? We're saying, hey, we got rid of all this, but we're also subservient to it because that's why we're supporting Pierre Poilievre, because we got to be subservient to it. It makes no sense. And that's really why it makes no sense to support Pierre Poilievre, because he is not fighting against that. And sure, blah, 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 the numbers and the voting and the blah, blah, blah. Again, like, you don't really lose that much by criticizing Pierre Poilievre, especially if you have a platform. You do not lose that much. You get flack in the comment section. People DM you and say, probably people who work with the Conservative Party of Canada or are delusional themselves and don't have principles at all, who are fearfully telling you, no, fall in line. Just take the hat off. Just take the hat off. Just don't talk about that. Just be a coward. Trust me, being a bigger pussy is going to save us, guys. We don't want any confrontation. It is the loss. It is the loss. People think that the election, what are the votes going to be? No, we've already lost. If you're agreeing to shut your mouth, if you're agreeing to take the hat off, if you're agreeing to not stand up for your principles, you've already lost. And by supporting Poilievre with all of these, sneaky little catchphrases, we're losing. We're losing the spiritual part of the battle, the moral part of the battle. We are still under the reign of Justin Trudeau morality, where being racist or sexist is the worst possible thing ever. As long as that's the case, conservatives are going to take the L over and over and over again. If not in the election, with even if the fake conservatives win, the conservatives will, a right-wing person will still take the L at their workplace, because they're not even allowed to be themselves, because there's no leader out there saying, hey, I don't care if you think I'm racist. Ghislaine Maxwell is friends with Mark Carney, and he probably eats and fucks children. Why can't we change the conversation to that? And I was thinking about this the other day. Antifa, it's like, yeah, we need to kick those racists and blah, blah, blah. We need to punch the Nazis. I just find it so funny that they really don't care that much about pedophiles. Like, if you were to explain to Antifa, hey, no, there's actually like a systemic blackmail ring, Epstein Island. It's like, rich, famous people fucking children systematically. It's this disgust. It's actually pure evil. It's literally Satan on earth. Yeah, but you're racist. You see how stupid this is? We have to put up with this stupidity. We have to put up with this upside down world morality where, because, a white Christian guy in Canada says, yeah, our history actually is white and Christian, actually. That's the worst thing ever. Stating some historical fact about the country is worse than raping children. I'm really tired of it. I'm really tired that we're still stuck in this paradigm. And that's why I've started this podcast so long ago. I apologize that it's not going to happen very often, but I will, do episodes occasionally. Yeah, I see mass deportations in the chat. Yeah, exactly. Is it easy to call for mass deportations? No, it can be controversial to say that, even though nearly half the country supports mass deportations. Anyway, it's very, very brutal, guys. It's very, very weak. It's very, very brutal. And it comes down to the bravery. And shout outs to Archer Pawlowski, this tweet. Where was Pierre Poilievre, your savior, when we needed him the most? Cowards and traitors, all of them. This is a picture from the Convoy of peaceful protesters getting trampled by horses. Too risky for Pierre Poilievre, too risky to talk about that. You could use the visuals of horses trampling on people. And all Poilievre did was show up to hand out some tidbits or whatever. It's pretty weak, guys. It's pretty weak. But let's watch the rest of this, a little bit more of this shadow clip. I'm going to see if there's anything else that he says here.
Okay. That's interesting. So, I'm not allowed inside of a Conservative Party event. That's crazy. I'm dumbfounded by that. Now, I didn't have my phone out when these two security people approached me, so I couldn't record it or put it on live for you guys, but two young guys approached me with their little earpieces in, asked me to come with them. I said, all right. Hi, I'm a known agitator, so I'm not allowed in.
We don't have to keep watching this. Man, I feel bad for him. I feel bad. He wanted to support Poilievre, and then he learns the hard way that, you talked about the convoy. You talked about vaccines. You're not allowed in here. You're not allowed in here. This is the character of the Conservative Party of Canada. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. And that's why I really don't understand why people think, oh my gosh, it's going to be so much better with Poilievre. I don't see that at all. That makes absolutely no sense to me. I'm looking for a tweet here that speaks to this, which is, come on. Maybe I'll just have to wing it. It's a clip of Karima Saad. She gets kicked out of a Liberal Party event. And it's like, hey, you're not allowed in here. Sorry. Same reason, you're a known agitator. And I believe it was Marty up north who made a very sort of like, and Marty up north is someone who I don't really know. Sometimes he supports Pierre Poilievre, sometimes he doesn't. It kind of changes day to day. And this went on, and he says, wow, like this is authoritarian or something like that. This is authoritarian that this is authoritarian that the Liberal Party kicked people out. And it's like, yeah, the Conservative Party does the same thing, guys. And a lot of the accusations, once again, that you can give to the Liberal Party and give to Trudeau, you can also give to Pierre Poilievre. So I do want to like, you know, let me tell you a story, actually, because a lot of people are demoralized. They're freaking out. The election, everyone's panicking. But I do want to say one thing about that, which is really kind of like part of basically the thesis of the show in many ways, which is that we sorry, there's a reason why I don't attack the left wing anymore, or at least not very often. And it's because the left, in many ways, they've lost a lot of their credibility. They're kind of flailing around in terms of like what they believe and all that. And like, they're not really pushing the transgenderism stuff as much. Everything's kind of tame. They're flailing around. And, if you don't see that, then I really don't know what to tell you. Like, the left is not super strong in terms of pushing further left. And now's the perfect time for the right wing to attack. And the reason why I don't go after the left as much is the fake right wing is a more destructive force right now. They're de-radicalizing patriots, and they're encouraging strong right-wingers to be less and less outspoken and less political active. As I've been talking about, the fake right is actually very, very weak in opposing the destructive leftist ideals and morality that's taken a hold of all of our institutions. I mean, at worst, the fake right pushes a slightly softened version of leftist ideals. Thus, they are hardly pushing back at all and only establishing a center-left viewpoint as the new conservative stance. So I get it. Like, we're all upset at the left, and the left ruined the country. We all that's becoming more and more apparent. But the problem is no one's pushing back strong enough against that to change it. They're only just establishing a new normal where being center left is the new norm. And that is the problem, because no opposition is happening. Nothing is pushing forth. And no real change is happening. I don't get excited about this stuff at all. But and it really saddens and sickens me too to see. I made a tweet about this today that kind of speaks to it. But essentially, the whole reason I got into this mess is because I ran for the PPC in 2019. That's the whole reason I started to make content. I ran for the PPC in 2019, and I got called racist a lot. Okay. Imagine opposing immigration when the election was all about climate change and Greta Thunberg showed up a week before the election. People just said, "Get out of here, racist," going door to door. And I'm like, my volunteer is Cuban, but I'm like standing next to a Cuban dude, but I'm racist. Cool. That's when I realized how effective Canadian propaganda is. But it really saddens me to see this misplaced frustration and anger go towards the PPC. And sure, there's valid criticisms of Max. There's valid criticisms of the party and how they could be better and more effective. There's validity to that. However, they are the only people who are actually doing something that is effective in terms of saying, hey, we believe in these ideals. You can actually vote for a party that actually opposes globalism, that supports mass deportations and calls it like it is. Okay. You can support that. You can do that. And that's why it's so disheartening to see all the hatred go towards Max and the PPC, because it's like, well, hold on. These people are actually out there doing the hard thing. They're doing the hard work. They are getting, you could say they're getting gunned down, running out of the trenches, but at least they're showing that bravery. They're showing that inspiration. Okay. And there's a lot of effective candidates out there who are doing great things and are pushing the message, and they are not compromising. Like, this is Jason Levine, who got the endorsement from Dr. Hodgkin. And he's doing aggressive ground game in his riding. And it's funny, people like to make the vote splitting argument. But if you look at Alberta and some Saskatchewans and a lot of rural ridings, there really isn't actually a threat of vote split. It's actually not even close. In some cases, PPC is almost the next leading party in terms of votes. So there is no vote split whatsoever. And if there's anybody who has been screwed over, or should be the most pissed off, I should say, at this weak conservative party, it should probably be Albertans. I bet Albertan conservative MPs work overtime with their lip service to their base. No, don't worry. Poilievre's going to be our guy. Poilievre's going to be really strong. Oh, by the way, if you wear a red hat, get the hell out of the rally. I can't even imagine the lies and the lip service that Albertans get from their conservative MPs to get you to shut up, right? It's to get you to shut up and support them anyway. And that's why I'm saying, if you want to stick a massive middle finger up to the cowardice of Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party of Canada and Ottawa in general, then vote purple. Vote for the PPC. That's your protest vote. And it will be collected with a lot of people across the country who feel the same way. This is the utility of the PPC. It's for people who are like, hey, I'm actually going to be counted for having principles and not putting up with this bullshit. Yeah, it's actually worth it because it's like he said, I don't care if Carney gets in. I'm going to stick by my principles. And that's the funny thing too. I heard this from Tish Conlon, who's a PPC candidate. She was giving a speech on the weekend. I went to her event. Frank Stronach was there, billionaire, one of the biggest entrepreneurs, if not the biggest entrepreneur in Canadian history. And also Max Bernier was speaking at Tish Conlon's event. She's running in York, Durham. And she has an incredible ground game as well. And when she gets asked about the vote splitting, she says, guys, I would never vote for the Conservative Party ever again. Like, they've just simply lost my trust. And that's the thing. Like that is what we need more of. We need more of the heart, guys. We need more of the uncompromising bravery and patriotism. We do need to think, be proudly independent in our thinking. That is really the only way that we're going to turn this thing around. Individual bravery. So yeah, shout outs to all of the PPC candidates out there. They're knocking the doors. It's not easy, guys, to knock the doors, but I think that starting a conversation in your riding, meeting people through the PPC, that is better than sitting on your ass and convincing yourself that Pierre Poilievre is going to change anything. Oh, don't worry. All those Ottawa bureaucrats that have been there sometimes for decades, they're going to take care of it. The same people that locked you down are going to take care of it. The same people who are telling you to forget about the trucker convoy are going to take care of it. The same people who are pushing aside the crimes against humanity with teaching transgenderism to children in school. The people who ignore all of that, they're going to take care of it. It's so crazy how there's so many people that get this, but some spell has been cast in the past month where the fear of Carney and more liberals has just turned people's minds to mush, and it's the people with conviction. It's the people who are not giving into fear who are doing the right thing, in my opinion. And I want to share a story about another PPC candidate, Igor Tvorogov. And Igor was a candidate, I think in 2021 in somewhere in Richmond Hill. I'm not going to get the riding correct, but for those who have been in the channel for a while, Igor was my cameraman at the trucker convoy. Okay. Based Russian. We love Igor. Okay. And he called me last week. I hope it's okay if I share this story, but it speaks to what I'm talking about. He called me last week on Friday. And he's like, Greg, the PPC called me. He wasn't even planning on running, by the way. He was not planning on running as a PPC candidate this time around. He's busy in his career, doing work, doing all this stuff. Hasn't even been following politics too closely, if I'm not mistaken. But Igor gets a call from the PPC, like, hey, we got to try to get as many candidates as possible. I know that you haven't submitted yet, but would you be willing to run as a candidate to try and get on the ballot just so we can try to get Max in the debates? And Igor tells me this, and he's like, yeah, Greg, so I'm going to try to collect 150 signatures over the weekend. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, dude, are you crazy? You're going to go through all that work just like that, damn, just to be like a paper candidate? But he did it. He got over 100 signatures on Sunday between him and 2 or 3 other volunteers. He was pounding the pavement, knocking the doors, letting people know about PPC all day he was doing this. He was outside knocking doors, letting people know, hey, did you know that there's an option that doesn't support foreign wars? Liberals support foreign wars. Conservatives support foreign wars. There's actually a purple option that we actually don't support foreign wars. Did you know that? Yeah. If you sign this paper, you can actually have an option as a Canadian citizen to not support foreign wars. Amazing. And for those who shit on Max, I feel like that's, people like to say, oh, he has this place in Florida. Okay, how about this? Some former MP, hopefully future MP from the PPC, pays for a Florida house, and you get an option on the ballot that does not support foreign wars. Does that seem like a fair trade? That seems like a fair trade to me. Just to kind of lean into that whole talking point of oh my God, he's trying to build a Florida house or whatever. It's like, yeah, at least we get an option where we get to oppose foreign wars on the ballot. Do you not think that's worth something? But anyway, I was so inspired by Igor's story because it's it was so motivated by love and hope and doing the right thing, even in the impossible odds. You know, like I'm actually going to do the right thing, pound the pavement, spread the good word to let people know about this. Because keep in mind, people learn about the PPC for the first time every day, that it's outside of their wheelhouse, that it's outside of like even their perception. And, you know, it has a close place to my heart, obviously, because when I joined the PPC, I met people like Igor. I met many good friends that I still have today. And that's why it pissed me off so much to see people poo-poo Max, poo-poo the PPC and say, no, we got to vote for Poilievre. And it's like, guys, you are totally punching in the wrong direction. And you're preventing people from engaging in politics. Like I said earlier, like, you know, by supporting Poilievre, you're encouraging people to sit on the couch and to hope that these people who have been lying to us for years, who have proven to be cowards for years, are going to help us. Just put the faith in them. No, I put the faith in real patriots who are willing to stick their neck out there and take the risk and go for it and do the right thing, no matter what, even in the impossible odds, because that's truly what we need. We need more bravery. We need more courage. We need more hard work. And as far as I can tell, the PPC is one of the most accessible ways to start doing that, to get engaged, to meet some people, and to start some conversations. And yeah, that's how I feel. You know, people, you know, call me a shill if you want, but like that I believe is directionally correct for the country. That's directionally correct for the country. We need more people to get engaged in politics, actually start doing stuff, actually get involved. And sure, you can try to infiltrate the Conservative Party of Canada if you want, but they're just going to give you lip service. They're just going to suck on your knob, tell you what you want to hear, so you'll shut up and go along with their bullshit. Spoiler alert. They're going to do that to make you go along with their bullshit. But guys, thanks so much for watching. That's it for me tonight. That's Controlled Opposition, episode 36. You know, I said I was going to react to some Pierre Poilievre clips. We'll have to do that next time. Maybe I'll do another one next week because it's the election cycle. Thank you so much, Silverman and Buddy, for the massive donation. If you want to support the documentary that I'm creating, there is going to be a trailer dropping shortly. It's givesendgo.com/savefreespeech. And like I said, no one is talking about the corrupt institutions, the far left institutions captured by far left woke ideology, whatever you want to call it. No one's actually fighting against this. No one's actually documented how Canadians are persecuted for their simple opinion. It's too right wing or what have you. When it comes to the gender ideology in schools, when it comes to all that type of stuff. But I'll put the link in chat, givesendgo.com/savefreespeech to support that. I really appreciate it. Teaser trailer coming soon. It's going to be dope. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. And we are going to talk to you soon. Yeah, until next time, folks. Cheers. Do.
Anyone from anywhere can do anything.
And we will bring a direct flight to Amritsar.
Ours is a nationalism not based on bloodlines, birthplace, or background. Why weren't Canadians vaccinated in January and February like everyone else?